All right, this is the Brown Duke Gun Show. My name is JP Garcia, here today, as always, with Brandon Elias, talking about a really popular topic today, just the difference between pistol silencers and rifle silencers and what you should consider when looking at this. Before we dig into it, I always forget these days because I get so excited about the topics, but we are the official podcast for Sentry Defense Indoor Range in Youngsville, Louisiana. If you're in our area, please come out and shoot with us. Have a great time. A lot of guns to rent, a lot of guns to buy, a lot of silencers to buy. Probably need to be ordered, though, I think, since silencers are really popular today. And if you're not in our area, look us up, sentrydef.com. You can look at, look at all the stuff that you could buy off the website, the merch, the clothes, everything, right? And then also, if you have any questions, you reach out to us on social. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're kind of everywhere. So, you're going to see most of our stuff come out of Spotify and Twitter, YouTube, but really just wherever you can reach out to us. We love questions. Comment in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, I think that's all the shills we do today.
Yeah.
So let's talk about silencers, right? So you were mentioning, Brandon, that people are coming into the range and you're educating them about pistol silencers versus rifle silencers. So what's the
Yeah. So a lot of people, like, whenever they come in, they want a silencer, right? Because they want to make the gun quiet, but they don't know what type of silencer to buy. They're just like, all right, why do you have so many options? Or what does this one mean? What does that one mean? And usually people want one silencer that just does everything.
Right.
It's like, hey, I just screw it onto the gun, and whatever gun I put it on, it makes it quiet.
Right.
That's the idea, right?
Right.
It doesn't always work that way.
Okay.
Like, ideally, you'd want a dedicated silencer for a dedicated gun. Like, that's what usually you want to end up with. And a lot of people do end up with that. They buy one silencer that can put on multiple different guns, and it works, but then they're like, hey, like, it gets annoying or it doesn't do the best job for this one particular gun, so I'm going to get another silencer for this one. Right?
So I guess what you're talking about then is, so if you bought a silencer with a diameter that was like, 0.375, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it could do a 300 blackout. It could do a 223 for a rifle, like a rifle rated one.
Yeah.
Then you could potentially screw it onto a pistol and do 9mm and 22 or something like that. Is that what people are trying to do?
Yeah, and you can do that. So anything that the bore diameter it's going to be bigger, like you said, like they have a 36 millimeter.
36, okay,
one.
yeah.
It's like a common one. So you could do 9mm, you could do 338 Lapua, you could do 30 caliber, you could do 223, 5.56, like 270. Whatever you want out of it, pretty much anything that's under.
Right.
You couldn't do 44 mag, right? Because it's bigger than 36. So anything smaller, you can do that. It just doesn't always work out the best because you want the smallest exit hole possible. That way it suppresses more of the gas to where it makes it quieter, right? So if you have a larger bore, then it doesn't silence the gun as quiet, so it doesn't work as well, right? So there's not one that does everything, just like guns, right? Whenever you first buy your first gun, you're like, hey, this can kind of do everything. But as time goes on, you're like, all right, I need this one gun for this special purpose.
Right.
Same thing with silencers. So if you can only get one, then yeah, that might be an option. But I'd say, like, if you want to get into the silencer game, you should have at least two silencers.
Okay.
Right? One of them is going to be a rifle silencer because everybody wants to quiet those, and one of them being a rimfire silencer. So for 22 long rifle, 22 mag, 17, things like that. 22 is a great caliber to silence because it's like super quiet, especially on kids' guns and things like that.
Right.
I have two guns set up identical for Ellie, my little girl, and she has silencers on both of them.
Okay.
That's like if a friend comes over or something like that and they both want to have their guns and both shooting at the same time, I have two identical guns. They're also not very expensive. Like a 22 silencer can be anywhere from like $300 to $500.
Okay.
You get a really good one. So they're not over the top expensive, right? It is a tax stamp for each item, but
all right.
To have that silencer, I wouldn't recommend putting like a rifle silencer on a 22 gun because a rimfire, it's very, very dirty. It starts depositing lead into that silencer, and rifle silencers usually cannot clean them. They're welded all together to where it makes them more durable, so you can't take the baffles out and clean them. And 22s you have to clean. Like that silencer, you have to take it apart almost every time you shoot it, clean all the carbon and everything out of it and all the lead out, and then put it all back together.
Got it.
On a rifle, you don't clean them. Like you just leave them however they are. You can put them in ultrasonic if you want to, but They usually last like for a very long period of time before they start getting corroded. I have one on the rental gun that you can start seeing corrosion off of it, but it's got probably at least like 30 to 40,000 rounds through the silencer right before it starts. And it's still quiet. Like it still reduces it to where it's hearing safe, but it's not as quiet as it first started.
Okay.
You know, so don't mess up a $1,000 rifle silencer by putting it on a 22 long rifle.
That makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
Just buy 2 silencers.
Yeah. So here's a question so you mentioned, 22 is a great caliber to silence, right? Mm-hmm. What are the other good calibers to silence?
So anything under 1,050 or like 1,100 feet per second, the bullets traveling, any of that is going to be great to silence. So 22 is great, 300 blackout's great, 9 millimeter is great. So if you get like 147 grain, 9 millimeter, it's very quiet. 45 ACP, that's another pistol cartridge that's very easy. So anything past that 1,100 feet per second goes into, I forgot the exact number of it, but it's around there, where it goes into supersonic. So it's breaking the sound barrier, right?
Okay.
So if it breaks the sound barrier, you're still going to hear that crack. It's still going to be loud because the bullet's going to break the sound barrier after it leaves the barrel.
That's a sonic boom.
Right. Yeah, sonic boom. So it's going to be loud. The silencer does not take that away. It only takes away the boom that comes out the end of the gun, the muzzle, right? So anything under that feet per second is going to be a whole lot quieter. You can almost hear like bullets hitting the trap.
Okay.
Right, with 22. Yeah. That becomes like movie quiet, right? People get silencers and like, man, I thought it'd be quieter than what it is. Right. It's like, no, it's not going to be like in the movies where you just hear like a little poof and that's it.
Right.
22s, you can almost get it that way.
Right. And 300 blackout also.
300 blackout. Yeah.
That's a very that was a surprising one. Whenever I heard the first time I heard a 300 blackout silence, it's like, oh my goodness, you can almost hear the action.
Yeah, you can hear the action moving. You can hear the bullet hitting the trap in the back.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
Yeah,
especially if you get a really good silencer.
Yeah,
and like we were talking earlier, like I have a 36 millimeter. It's a silencer Go 36M on my 300 blackout, and that one it's quiet, like it does do the job, but it's not as great as like a 30 caliber silencer. Right. Like I built your dad one and put that Nomad on it. So that Nomad, it's a rifle silencer in 30 caliber and it has a lot of airspace in it. So the diameter is like 175, whereas everything else is usually 1.5. So since it traps more gas, then it can be a lot quieter. Yeah. And that thing was insane whenever
I remember when you tested it. He's still waiting for that to clear, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he got in right before like they all started going out.
Right. So I keep asking him, like, has it been cleared yet? He's like, no, it's still in jail.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to end up getting a Nomad just to put it on that gun because I have the same exact gun.
For sure.
But that's what you end up doing. Like if you want to get one, I'd say like a 36 or a 30 caliber can for a rifle, you can do a lot of stuff with that. Okay. So if you have hunting guns that are 30-06, 308, any 30 caliber bullet, or 270, that's a little bit less, you can still silence all that. You can put it on AR-15s, you can put it on 300 blackouts, all those things. But ideally, you'd have a set caliber like a 5.56 silencer or a 30 caliber silencer.
Right. Well, for me, I'm just lazy. Like I'm not going to take that thing off.
I'm the same way. Like once it's on the gun, it's on the gun. It's dedicated for that gun.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the setup you built for me, I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
And in fact, at this point, I don't even know if I could take it off. Like if I, remember, okay, I need to unlock this thing and whatever, because I remember when we did it, it was like, it was a special locking system. Yeah. Right. But now it's like, I don't know. I've never done it. Just the one time when we put it on, that's it.
That's what most people get. And I know right whenever you get into silencers, it sounds crazy because you're like, man, it's $1,000 an item. And I put a $200 tax stamps, paperwork. I just want one of them that does it. Everybody says that, right? They get one silencer, and then a year goes by, and they're like, man, it'd be really nice just to get this one, right? Yeah. And they end up getting that one, and they end up getting that one. It's the same thing with the guns, right? Like absolutely. Whenever you first get into guns, you're like, oh, I just need one gun. Like, why do I need all these? I'm not some gun nut or something.
Right.
And then you end up buying, hey, I need this gun for this special purpose.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And then you start to carry, or you start to compete, or you start to do something like that. Yeah.
So that's what silencers turn into. But I would say 3 main ones. You have a rifle silencer, get one dedicated to that, something that's completely welded. A rimfire silencer, that would be, I think, a must-have. Mm-hmm. And then if you want to silence like a pistol caliber, you can get pistol silencers. They're usually a little bit lighter weight than the rifle ones.
Sure.
So a little bit easier to like kind of move around and put on the end of a gun.
Yeah.
But that'd be 3 different categories if you want to go just bare minimum.
Got it. Yeah. So question, I've asked you this before on a different show, but now we can go deep into it if you want to. You got a PCC, right?
Yep.
Pistol caliber carbine. So it's going to be shooting a 9, a 40, or a 45, right? They make rifle silencers clearly for that, right? Since it's it looks like it's a rifle.
Yeah.
But can you go pistol silencer with that?
Yeah. Because it's just the in pressure, right? So it's the pressure of the round that's coming out of the gun. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend like the pistol one if you want the quietest.
Okay.
I have a 36M that's like it's rifle rated, everything up to like 300 rum, but it is heavier.
Okay.
Right. So if you put a pistol silencer on it, like a titanium one that's very lightweight, it can handle pistol easy. Right? Sure. Like you're not going to wear out the baffles with a titanium silencer on a pistol.
Right.
But it makes it a lot easier to move around. It's very quiet and lightweight in the front.
Yeah.
If I have that same titanium silencer and put it on like a 338 Lapua or 300 rum, it's going to destroy those baffles very, very easily because it's just so much pressure coming out. It's moving so fast, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely go with a pistol caliber. They have some that's dedicated for like PCC type guns,
right?
Where they're a little bit shorter and they're like kind of welded together. The like Silencer Co has a Omega 9K. Yeah. That was like designed for MP5s and things like that. Those are very good silencers.
Okay.
Older technology and things like they're coming out with newer ones now. Dead Air has titanium ones that are really impressive that are supposed to be coming out. We haven't seen them yet.
Okay.
They're pretty cool.
So you started mentioning brands. I don't know much about them, right? Yeah. So what are the good brands? What should people look for in a brand and in like a silencer? Like are there brands that are better or worse than others? Are there features that are better or worse than others in silencers?
Yeah. So like some people like they have new brands that's always coming out, and just like every other thing, I'm kind of skeptical about it because I want to make sure that brand stays there, right? Mm-hmm. So like if I'm going to invest into a silencer, I want to make sure if something happens to that silencer, the warranty's there, right? Because the pain of getting that thing, it sucks. So if I have to get another one because it destroys it, then that's kind of bad, right? So if something happens where, like I have a Surefire silencer that it was at the range, I had it, Austin came with his bachelor party, so I was there and, like they were shooting it. Well, one of the guys like put it down on the table and it melted the plastic table and got underneath the button, right? So I'm like, now I got to go and get this silencer off. So like try to take off all the plastic off of it, heat it up and everything. Still not all the way working properly. Right. So I go to take out the screw strips, right?
Oh, no.
And then, so now I'm like, here we go, right? So I call Surefire. I'm like, hey, look, I just stripped a screw. Can you just send me a screw? Like, I don't want to send this silencer in. They're like, no, we got to send this silencer in. I'm like, all right, great. So I send it in, like kind of annoyed by it. But like 2 weeks later, they ship it back to me. They replaced the whole collar. They replaced the button. They replaced the screw. They rebored the silencer because they're like, hey, you had some rounds on. I was like, yeah, it was on a machine gun.
Right.
I did. Recoated it, like repainted it. It was like a brand new silencer whenever they gave it back to me. Nice. Right? It's like that's the customer service that I want. That's the warranty process that I want. Surefire's not going anywhere. So they're not going to go bankrupt at any time. Right. So when you're investing into a company, that's what you want to look for. Go with one of the main brands. Surefire's great. Silencer Co. is great. Dead Air's been around for a long time. I have seen some quality control issues with them in the last couple of years, but I'm sure they're going to start figuring that out pretty quickly. We do a lot of stuff with Griffin Armament. They've been around for a long time. Right. They're not like as popular brand as maybe like Surefire or somewhere like that, but they've been along for a long time. They're not going anywhere. They're still owned by the same two guys. Great customer service. Yeah. So pick a brand like that that for sure is going to be there.
Got it.
Right. Another things to look for is like lockup systems or compatibility with other lockup systems. So now a lot of things are going to a certain thread pattern to where you can whatever adapters you have. Like if it's going from the rifle to another rifle, there's quick connects, right? Okay. So each company has its own quick connect. Okay. Like Dead Air has a chemo, let's say, for instance. Right. I know all these words might be confusing, but let's just use chemo as like the one that you have set up for all your rifles. Right. Well, now there's a certain thread pattern that you could buy Dead Air's chemo and put it on this Griffin Armament silencer. Okay. And now it works on all your guns. Right? I see. Okay. So try to look for that where it's compatible with everything. You're not going to a different system, right? Got it. That's very important for people.
Maybe that's a video you should post on Sentry's page.
Yeah.
That the different
types.
Quick connect, quick detach systems that.
And it's kind of like there's new ones that comes out, and it's kind of a pain because you're like, man, I invested all this stuff into that. Is it that much better?
Right.
Switching over, like right now, I have a lot of Surefire stuff on all my AR-15s. They're usually all Surefire silencers, but Griffin just came out with a new quick connect, the one that you have.
Right.
And like you were the first one that had it. And remember, we had like one little issue with like it locking down and stuff.
Yeah.
But like since then, I've been looking at that quick connect, and I think that's probably like the best one that's on the market. It's not going to wear down the way it is. The tapers in front of the threads, which means the gas. That's another thing you want to kind of look for. Whenever the gases are in the silencer, it's not actually going onto the threads of the silencer to where it's corroding them or like having carbon lock. Right. Yeah. There's a taper on it to where the gas cannot go past that taper.
Okay.
So that's very important to look
for. Well, that's
for.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll do a video like where I can show you like what threads before the taper and threads after the taper. Yeah. What's pros and cons between both.
Makes sense. Yeah, that'd be cool. So, all right. So those are like, we've gone over rimfire, pistol, rifle type stuff, right? Different types of silencers for each. You touched on it a little bit with the 22, but I don't know anything about this either. Maintenance. What do you have to do? And, it sounds like there's more maintenance that goes into a 22 silencer versus a rifle silencer. But, go into people, if they're going to buy a silencer, they, a lot of folks, are very on top of their maintenance schedules, right? So what are we adding to maintenance schedule when we're looking at silencers?
So I would say like whenever you go ahead and clean the gun, go ahead and take the silencer off of the gun and then clean the gun and then put it back on, like you on a rifle, right? Like you don't have to clean the silencer, you don't have to put it in anything, you don't do anything special to it.
Right.
Just you taking it off and taking it back on is gonna make sure the carbon lock doesn't like lock onto there, so you can take it off. And whenever you pass in like bore snakes or anything through that, it's easier to do that. It's very difficult to put one through the silencer also.
Right.
And you don't want any trash or anything depositing in the silencer. Whatever's in the bore, I just want it to come out the bore and be done with it.
Okay.
Try not to use any heavy solvents because if you strip all the oils and stuff out of it, then you can start rusting on the inside or doing anything like that. Usually it's like Inconel or stuff, those type of materials don't really rust that much, but try not to clean it unless you absolutely have to.
Got it.
Whenever you're going to put it back on, make sure the taper on the threads and things like that are oiled. That way it doesn't like lock up, right?
Got it.
So just oil it whenever you put it back together and you're good to go. On a rimfire silencer, every time that you shoot that gun, like you definitely need to take apart the silencer and clean it.
Okay.
So they're usually user serviceable, so you can take off the end cap and the other side of it, take all the baffle stack out, take the baffles apart to where you have each individual baffle, and then clean them that way.
What do you clean them with? Like a brush or something?
I was about to say, like some type of nylon brush or brass brush. A brass brush usually is a little bit better because it, is a little bit more aggressive.
Right.
I don't use stainless ones. They're like, because some of those materials are stainless. Some of the 22s are like aluminum, so I'd probably stay with just a regular nylon brush. But there's different types of, solvents or thing that you can put on it. Breakthrough just now came out with a suppressor cleaner that works excellent.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the thing that I would do. It's a specialized just for silencers to break up the carbon and get everything out. And there's like these little tubes that come with it, or you can build your own where you just like set it in there. So if it's really,
like just to dip it in.
Yeah, just dip it in. So take all the baffles and stuff out, and I just like throw them all in there, let it sit for a couple hours, and then go and like take a brush and kind of scrub off all the carbon. That's probably the easiest way of doing it.
Got it.
Because it is kind of a pain to take off all the carbon, especially on 22. But if you don't do that, like I have silencers there in the safe that I need to go get destroyed because they just filled up with lead. Like I can't take them apart.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had one on a rental gun. I had rifle silencers that are on rental guns, and like you never do anything with them. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna put one on 22 because it's very quiet. It's awesome. It's great. So I put one on there. Never like took it out or did anything. And one day, Blake he had a new 22 silencers at the range, and he shot it. I was like, that sounds pretty quiet. I want to go get my 22 and see if it's quiet. So I went and take it out and shot it, and it was not quiet like whatsoever. Like it was like just like a regular 22. I was like, man, that was kind of loud.
Right.
So I like took it off the gun, and I was like, man, this thing's extremely heavy. Like try to take it apart to clean it, and it would not come apart. Like lead welded itself together.
Oh man.
Yeah. So there's so much lead in it. It's just a solid tube pretty much now.
It's like a pencil.
It is. That's all it is. So I was like, man, like I can't even get this out. And 22 silencers are not, that expensive. So for me to like send it back and get it warranted and stuff, they'd probably charge me a court fee, and it's not worth doing that. So it's just easier to buy another one. So I just kind of kept it in a safe because it's a registered item and stuff. Right. But I need to go and get it destroyed to get paperwork on it and things like that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely clean them. Don't just let them sit there on 22s.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. What else do we need to know about silencers?
Pretty much it. Alignment check. So whenever you go,
that's a good one because I've heard of people shooting their baffles.
Yeah, that's huge. Like if you have a good gunsmith around or someone that you trust, I'd highly recommend letting them put on your muzzle device on your gun to where it's put on properly. Like some people are like, oh, I can do it myself. I just screw it on there. What happens is you don't alignment check it. They either over tighten it or they don't put the right shims or under tighten it, and either the brake starts walking off. So as you start heating up the gun, it just starts like unloosening, and then you end up shooting the silencer off, or it's over tightened and it's throwing off the alignment of the muzzle brake, and whenever you shoot it, it will hit one of the baffles. Right. So you hit the end cap or hit like second to last baffle and destroy the silencer. Yeah. So bring it to a gunsmith or someone that knows how they're doing it. We install them at Sentry. I think as of now, it's 2024. It's like $45 to install a muzzle device. Right. We put it into the vise. We use rock set. So rock set is a ceramic-based Loctite that does not get affected by heat. Regular Loctite burns off at like 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Rock set burns off at 3,000 degrees. Right. So as you start heating up that silencer, it's definitely going to stay on there. It's not going to start like walking off. Got it. We also run an alignment rod through there to make sure that the bullet path is not going to hit any baffles. Got it. So that's cool. Very important. Yeah, very, very important. We saved like, I think 4 or 5 guns so far coming in. Really? Yeah, guys come in with a silencer and just by accident. Like we've seen some of them get shot off the gun, but just by accident, like, hey, do you run an alignment rod through there? And they're like, no, what is that? It's like, who put it on? This store did, or like I did, right? Yeah. So we're like, all right, do you want me to go run an alignment rod? Like I'll do it for free just to like make sure you don't damage your silencer. And like, yeah, sure. So we go and do that, and sure enough, it's off. Sure. It's like I go and show it to them, like, hey, look, my alignment rod's touching this end baffle. Right. So it's going to start scraping that. If you have one unstable bullet that's the powder's not right, it's going to go way south and then end up shooting off the baffle. Right. So I would not shoot it this way. And they're like, oh, well, thanks. Like, how much do I owe you to redo it? So we'll just redo it for them and make sure it's aligned properly. Yeah. That's the last thing you want. You don't have a catastrophic failure of shooting your own gun. Yep. People wait a whole year to get their silencer. The first time they go and shoot it, it blows up. We've seen it happen. It's like sickening. Yeah. But exactly. Well, but fortunately now you don't have to wait that long. Nope. So not anymore. Hopefully it stays that way. Well, cool. What else? What else do we need to know about silencers? I think that's all I can think of as of now. Okay. If anybody has any questions, just like JP said, reach out on the website, sentrydef.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Reach out to us, email us. Yeah, all of our info's in the show notes and stuff like that. Yep. So just wherever. Yep. And if it's a big topic, like if you want to know a lot about things, like come into the store, right? It's a whole lot easier than going back and forth with email and things like that. Yeah. Like come into the store, we can pick the right silencer for you. You let us know like what guns you want to put it on and what's your purpose for this. We can tell you like, hey, this is be my recommendations. We might give you 2 or 3 different silencers. You pick from there, and then we can go ahead and get it ordered. If we don't have it in stock, or if we have it in stock, you can do the paperwork that day. Yeah, sounds good. Yep. Okay, well, very cool. I think that's it. Like and subscribe wherever you get our content. Share with a friend. Brandon mentioned it. If you have a topic that you want to talk about, you bring it into the range. And if you're not around us, or even if you are, send it in to us because we can also talk about it on the show. Yep. So that'll be good.